Welcome to Navigating Consumer and Family Law Challenges. Insights from SoCal's trusted attorneys.
Hello and welcome to Navigating Consumer and Family Law Challenges with attorney Amanda Hill. With a focus on family law, Amanda offers helpful, caring, and professional legal services and advice. I am your host, Kevin Rosenquist, and today's episode is Building Bridges, Integrating New Relationships into Co-Parenting. Amanda, welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
So this is an issue we've talked about before, about when the right time is to integrate those new relationships. So I'm excited to talk about this with you. So what are some of the unique challenges that arise when a step parent is involved in the co-parenting dynamic?
Sure. So, we definitely see this a lot in the family law world where sometimes, let's say there's still a custody battle going on, but both of the parents have new relationships and maybe even they've gotten remarried, but they've gone back to court to address an adjustment on the parenting plan. And the biggest no-no, in my opinion, is getting way too involved if you're in that role as a step parent, because it always needs to primarily be with the two parents of that child. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't support your new spouse. It doesn't mean that, you can't be a lending ear and support as far as going over what options would work for your new family. But at the same time, getting overly involved, it's really just not helpful. And the biggest example I see time and time again, the most common, is their new spouse texting for them or calling on their behalf. Or if they're using a parenting app to communicate, their other new spouse can tell, I don't think this is my ex that's texting. This is the new person. And you know how that other person is going to feel. Unless you ended your marriage on really good terms, it's not going to feel great. Everybody's going to become territorial. Everybody's going to have some sort of emotional feeling behind it. And it just doesn't set you up for success in a good co-parenting relationship.
Yeah, that seems antagonistic right off the bat.
Totally. But I often see it the most when maybe one spouse has moved on and are in a new relationship and the other is still single. And so they may have some sort of, albeit could be subconscious feelings. They may say outwardly, I'm over it. I'm over the relationship, over the marriage. I've moved on. But they're going to have some sort of feelings about their other spouse moving on maybe before they have.
Right.
So that's going to create more animosity for sure.
Yeah, like maybe a little bit of a jealousy aspect to it too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Especially if that new relationship is the reason why their marriage ended.
Well, that'll add a whole level of conflict for sure.
Right.
For sure. How do you recommend biological parents ensure that their new partner is integrated into the co-parenting process in a positive and even healthy way?
The biggest tip would be it's going to be based on the comfort level of the child. Nobody knows their children better than their own parents. And that comes into play with how old are the kids? How good of a relationship have they developed with you as the parent before you bring in a new partner? Did going through the divorce put strain on your own relationship with your child? And focus on that first. But if you have a really good, strong relationship with your child and you feel confident that they're going to want to see you happy and in this new relationship, and it's a healthy new relationship, then it should be conversational at first, introducing the child to, the idea that they've have a new relationship, they're in a new relationship. And then, giving the other spouse a heads up. Absolutely, you've moved on. You don't owe them anything per se. But if you share children, giving them a heads up that, hey, I am in a new relationship and I am considering bringing the children to meet this new person, then give them a heads up. Have enough respect for that other person to give them a heads up. They don't need to know all the details, but they do need to know who's going to be around their children.
Yeah. And also you don't want to just be saying, so how was your day? And like, oh, I met daddy's girlfriend,
Absolutely. That is a recipe for disaster. But time and time again, I have heard that story.
Is it just the fear of the conversation, just wanting to avoid that conversation? Or is it just not even, do you think that people just don't even think that it's important?
I think it really depends on how their relationship ended.
Yeah.
Right. If their relationship ended because somebody cheated and there's no trust, sometimes it's like, you didn't respect me, I'm not going to respect you now when I've come into this situation. Right. It's the reciprocal thing. But if you ended on decent terms and you're able to move on and you both are in better headspaces, sometimes it's like, well, we both moved on. I just didn't think that it would be necessarily a big deal until maybe we got more serious, like we were moving in or getting engaged.
Right. Good point. Do you think it's good to set boundaries between biological parents, step parents, and kids?
Absolutely. And I think the biggest way of doing that is communication, meaning making sure that everybody's on the same page, as including the children of, hey, I know I have this new relationship, for example, but, mommy and daddy, we're still your parents, and
Right.
we're the ones that are going to make the decisions for you. We're the ones that you come to console whatever's going on in your life. This is an added bonus. And I really like that new term that it's going around a lot. A lot of people use like bonus mom, bonus dad instead of step parents, because that's really what it is, right? If it's a good, healthy relationship that new parent is, or that parent is in, that's a good way for the children to look at it. It's a bonus additional guardian or authority in their life, but it's not their parents, right? And so to establish that kind of boundary by giving them a respectful title, because I do think that sometimes the whole idea of step, there's like some sort of weird negative connotation to it, and it shouldn't be that way. If you want it to be like a healthy way, I always encourage my clients to come up with a way. Or sometimes it's just, hey, maybe it's just their first name at first, and there's no
Yeah.
label to it,
Yeah.
right? Make it more
We don't have
comfortable
to put a
for
label
them.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I've never heard that, the bonus parent. I think that's kind of a cool idea, because, like, to your point, there is a negative connotation with step parent and maybe that's just goes all the way back to evil stepmothers in
Yeah.
Disney movies.
Cinderella.
And
Yeah.
yeah, Cruella, exactly. And we all, we've all heard, bad stories about stepdads or stepmoms being really mean or abusive, or all the stuff that you see in like true crime stuff or the movies or whatever. So yeah, maybe over time that's just become like a negative term.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. When it comes to legal aspects, are there considerations that a biological parent should be aware of when they want to involve a step parent into the kid's life, like schooling, healthcare, travel, any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it really depends if they truly are a step parent, meaning they've remarried that person and it's a serious relationship, then they can certainly be involved in those decisions. However, ultimately, from a legal perspective, doesn't really have any standing. Both of the parents that are deemed in the parenting plan, they're going to be the ones that get to make those legal decisions like schooling, medical, things of that nature. But, it's not bad practice to involve them if they are, in fact, a serious relationship.
Are there any, exceptions to that?
Yeah, one of the exceptions is for my military families. And if one of the parents goes on a deployment and they have a shared parenting plan with a spouse or an ex-spouse that's not in the military or active duty, sometimes that step parent can step in the shoes if it is a long deployment. So the courts are going to really look at how long is the deployment for? Is it for more than a year? Is it a couple of months? Because they want to make sure, especially if there are new children, meaning, half siblings that have come up as a result of this new relationship, that they don't completely get cut off from those siblings. And so the courts are going to look at that. Obviously, though, the goal is always to hope that the co-parents can work out a plan without having to go to court, but that is one exception.
Do you have suggestions for co-parents on how they can communicate and collaborate when there's a new relationship, such as a new marriage or partnership?
I think it's all about communication. I've had some clients, they have like a group chat with both new spouses, both parents. I will say that's really going to require a good base of respect
Yeah.
and being okay with making sure that it's a collaborative and it's not a demanding kind of tone to those messages that are being sent. Because I will say I've seen that go south once on a case where it started becoming a trend of only the step parent sending the messages, to the point where the other spouse was like, wait, who's actually parenting our kids? Is it you or
Mhm.
the new spouse? And then it goes into, well, I'm working so much. And then things start to unravel. Then name calling could happen. Or, for example, well, you don't get to micromanage what goes on in my household. So, as long as everybody remains respectful, then it could be totally great, because you want your kids to see that you guys are all on the same team to do what's best for your kids, and that you're all there to support them while they're children. And they should be, as least exposed to any kind of animosity as possible. So to get everybody on the same team, sometimes it's not feasible. It just doesn't work, especially in like the early years of the breakup. Some people it is mistrust, or, somebody feels like, well, you screwed me over, so to speak. So I can't even trust you to feel comfortable in having that. And so sometimes it'll take years before they get to that point where they can have a, cordial conversation. But that's always the goal, is to work through that. And one of the things that's really cool is a lot of communities have resources like parenting courses. And now some of these parenting courses are offering courses that, why can't a step parent be there too, to learn those new skills? There's even courses about how do you integrate into mixed families, right? Because sometimes their new spouse also has children from a prior relationship, right? That's bringing in. Now we have a mixed family where we have children from two different broken up families. And so how do you meld that together? How do you work that together? And being okay with taking a parenting course is the best advice I can give my clients, because it's okay to not know everything, and using as much resources and tools as you can to kind of navigate that.
What was the example I always remember is the Brady Bunch thing. Of course, that might be dating myself, and there might be listeners who are like, what in the hell is this guy talking about?
Exactly. No, definitely. I think it's a little bit more nuanced nowadays, but yeah,
Sure.
that is a good simplistic example for sure.
Do you have advice from your experience on how co-parents can reduce potential tension, between the biological parents, the step parents, the children? Like any tips that you have?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to have conversations outside, or, with children not present. Like, conversations should not be at the baseball field during a game, right?
Right.
The children need to not be exposed to that. But maybe it's hey, let's go out and have dinner and let's talk about that. Again, that's going to require you guys both putting your past issues with each other aside and putting the children first. But I have had clients get to that point. And, I really show them the benefit of doing that. It's so helpful for the children to see you guys all on the same team, working together, knowing that even though my parents are broken up, I now have two bonus extra parents that I can rely on. And so that's kind of cool if the children can see that as a benefit and not necessarily something so negative in their life. Because look, the reality is, 40 to 50% of people end up divorced. So they're going to have other classmates or friends that they're going through the same thing. But if they can say, you know what, my parents are divorced, but I got some really cool bonus parents, that's all you can really do.
Yeah, everybody gets along, and I mean, when you want to create a united front, that's you said it before, put the children first, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense to me. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on Navigating Consumer and Family Law Challenges with Amanda Hill. To connect with Amanda and her firm, you can visit kandhlawgroup.com. And please like and subscribe to our channel and leave us a review as well. Amanda, it's always great to talk to you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.